Welcome everyone to the 16th round of the World Blitz Championships 2025. On your screen is the Chinese Grandmaster Bu Xiangzhi. He is incredibly solid as a player, and until the 16th round, like 15 rounds have been completed, he hasn't lost a single game. Imagine. He's played players like Pranesh, Pragnananda, Jobawa, SL Narayanan, Van Forest, David Paravian, Levon Aronian. Incredible lineup he's played against and not lost a single game. That just goes to show how strong he is. But now he faces a big challenge, a highly motivated Magnus Carlsen who wants to win at all costs in order to reach the top 4, and there are only 4 rounds left until this ends. And the arbiter comes in, starts the clock. Bu Xiangzhi plays knight f3. Where exactly is Magnus Carlsen? Well, he's late to the game like he usually is, and there he is. He enters in a handshake, and this, dear friends, is the ChessBase mobile app recap of the day. Magnus Carlsen takes his chair. He is already 20 seconds down on the clock, but he plays his knight out to f6, adjusts the pieces, and presses the clock. c4, b6, knight to c3, bishop b7, and pawn to d4. Now, how does Magnus play for a win here? This is one of the most solid lines as white. Bishop goes to g5, attacking the queen. Magnus brings his bishop out, takes, queen takes, and pawn to e3 played. He pushes his pawn forward, the bishop comes out. Magnus keeps the bishop on the board, hoping that later on he can create some play, but white is so solid here. He tries to hit on the queen side. Queen comes up to c2, and now you can't castle because the h7 pawn is under attack. So Magnus thinks for a bit here. And he can play his pawn to h6. He plays bishop takes f3, gf3, trying to create this imbalance. But I think Bu Xiangzhi is happy with this, because king h1, rook g1, he can create pressure on the king side. And Magnus tries to focus in. He pushes his pawn to f5. He has 1 minute 56 seconds. Bu Xiangzhi has 3 minutes 10 seconds. He's blitzing it out. Pawn to f4 played. And once again, a super solid position for the Chinese GM. Because Magnus lost a couple of games at the start of the day, it's already very, or maybe just first game in the start of the day against Haik Martirosyan. It's very difficult for him to finish in top 4 if he doesn't win game after game. Bu Xiangzhi is a super tough opponent, and Magnus taking risk here goes pawn to g5. Usually I don't think he would do that. Now there's this move d5 to soften up the f5 square. I think it's a good moment for the Chinese Grandmaster to start thinking, because if he takes the pawn, it's very risky. Takes, and then rook comes in, and there could be potentially a mating attack down the g file. He does take. Queen takes, king h1. He sees no threats. Pawn takes pawn, takes the rook, rook takes, and now king comes up to e7, pawn to f4. Bu Xiangzhi playing with great speed here. Has almost twice the time of Magnus on the clock. And now Magnus plays queen to h5. Well, this one is a real threat. Queen f3, rook g8. So he plays his queen to g2. And now queen g6, offering a trade of queens. How is that going to help Magnus's chances to win the game? Rook g1. And is he going to play rook g8? Maybe another draw incoming here. It's too symmetrical. And Magnus now down to less than a minute, while Bu Xiangzhi has 2 minutes 36 seconds. Wow. He goes rook to g8. And the Chinese grandmaster simply moves his queen. Magnus chops, takes, and well, 6 pawns versus 6. But Magnus goes c5. He tries to fix a pawn on a light square, so the bishop is limited a bit. And is this enough? That's the big question. Doesn't feel like it at all. Takes the pawn, and I mean, if you want to create some imbalance, you must take with the b pawn. He takes it, and b5 makes a lot of sense now to get a passer. Although after knight b6 it does seem worrisome, because black gets d5 at some point, and maybe you don't want to go into that direction. So b takes c5. Knight takes c5, bishop to c2 he plays, and the king comes up to f6. He goes king f2, and pawn to e5. He pushes his pawn forward, and black is thinking, goes king f3. He plays his pawn to h6. And now white also in a question, like, should he go e4? Like maybe pawn to e4 and trade everything. That could be a draw. But then knight e6, attacking f4. And if you take here, king e5. And then suddenly knight d4 check. So he goes king g3. And now knight to e6, putting pressure on f4. Bu Xiangzhi says, I'm waiting. Magnus, knight to c5, let's make a draw. Magnus says no, pawn to e4. But now he's also having pawns on light squares. Someday the bishop could maneuver itself and attack these pawns. King f2, king g6. And now king to g3. He goes king to g7. And king e2 play, and he comes up king to g6. Well, it's Magnus's will to win versus Bu Xiangzhi's impeccable defense. What's going to triumph? Be careful, be very careful. Somehow if the bishop gets here, it's a checkmate. The knight goes back, bishop a4, he's threatening a checkmate, king goes back quickly. Magnus making Bu Xiangzhi slightly more ambitious here. Bishop goes back, oops, puts it back there. He plays the bishop to c6. And now knight to a5, attacking the c4 pawn. Bishop comes here, knight to b3. Well, where is the knight going? King f2, he goes knight d2. He's keeping an eye on the pawn. Can I go king e2 and attack this pawn? But then knight f3 and I attack h2. Ooh, the knight has somehow entered in. King g2. He plays knight to f3. And he moves his king up. King goes to g6. And now he blunders. Magnus, like a hawk, attacks this pawn. If you save it, there's a check here. And the h2 pawn, e3 pawn, everything attacked. Incredible. Look at Magnus there. He's seen it. It was like as if he was waiting for this error. And Bu Xiangzhi now, who has 48 seconds in deep thought, king f2 chops off the pawn. And this is all that Magnus needed. Insane. For a guy who hasn't lost a single game in this tournament, this would come as a big surprise. Bishop d5, knight b6, and Magnus now starting to play so quickly. Bu Xiangzhi is now almost equal time as Magnus. He brings his knight to d7. It's still not an easy position to convert. There's still some effort left. King c3, he jumps in with the knight. The knight is actually going towards the h2 pawn to attack. King d4, knight e1. And he's going knight f3 check and picking this up. Wow, what an incredible play here. He takes, knight takes e3, king moves to c5, knight g2, and he takes on f4, and Bu Xiangzhi shakes his head. Magnus Carlsen is winning with 2 extra pawns, resigns, and Magnus scores a win. That was an impossible endgame to win. And look at Magnus there, the relief on his face. He's broken the Chinese wall there. Bu Xiangzhi, what a player he was in this tournament. But Magnus Carlsen, well, he is unstoppable. All these years, ChessBase was a software that needed to be installed on your computer. But now, ChessBase has come up with a mobile app. It's called the ChessBase mobile app, and it is available both on Android and iPhone. With the app, you can now prepare against an opponent. You can get access to more than 11 million games in your database. You can create a new game, analyze it. The premium users get access to the fastest cloud engines, and then you can save your analysis. What's more is that the app is completely free. If you want to stay connected to serious chess preparation on the go, then the ChessBase mobile app is for you.